Hello and welcome to the Martini Shot. My name is Brandon and today I am going to be reviewing the 2022 superhero film Morbius. But before I do that, good God, do I need a drink. So in honor of Morbius, I am going to be making a big old party cocktail called Artificial Blood. In the film, Dr. Michael Morbius has invented an artificial blood that can be used in place of real blood for transplants. When Morbius becomes vampirized, he tries to stake off the lust for blood by drinking the blue alternative. How it's made, how easy it is to make, and how much there is never really is elaborated on. But I think I can figure it out. Basically, my mindset behind this cocktail is making something that tastes like red, even though it's blue, if that makes sense. Artificial blood tastes like blood, but it's blue in color. So I wanted to kind of encapsulate that idea into a drink by integrating some cherry and raspberry flavors into the drink, while still making it blue with some blue Curacao. And because I like my drinks to be as accurate as possible, I've actually bought these nice little blood bag drink sacks. This will give the drink a fairly accurate appearance to how it looks in the film. And really, I'm always looking for interesting presentations when it comes to drinks. I'll include a link to these down in the description if you want to check them out. I think it was about $10 for 10 of these. So to start with this drink, we are going to be using some cherry flavored vodka. There's a couple different brands you can go with. I'm going with Pinnacle because it's cheap and really Morbius doesn't deserve anything more expensive. We are going to go ahead and do 2 ounces. And I forgot to mention before, but this is going to be a stirred cocktail since we are going to be working with carbonated beverages. Never want to shake that, never ends well. And then next we are going to do a whole ounce of lime juice. This is going to be kind of our natural sweetener for the drink. And like I said before, in some of my other cocktails, depending on what size limes you're going to be using will depend on how much you want to use. Because these are relatively small, I think I'm going to go with half of a lime, just to be safe. And if you're looking for something a little bit less sweet, because this will be a pretty sweet drink, you can always drop the amount of lime juice if that's what you're looking for. Hence why I don't measure, because I don't really mind. And then next, we are going to be doing 3 ounces of this raspberry flavored bubbly. If you've ever had bubbly, it's basically a flavored sparkling water. Raspberry tends to be one of the stronger flavors in their catalog, but it's going to pair really nicely alongside this cherry vodka and the lime. It's going to be really refreshing and also add a little bit of its own sweetness to it as well. 3 ounces. And now, for the purpose of color, we are going to be using just a little splash of blue Curacao. So blue Curacao has a bit of a citrus taste to it, but we're not really going to be using a lot of it. It's really just going to be for color. So you probably won't taste it too much alongside all the other ingredients going in. So you basically just want to use however much you need just to kind of get the shade of blue that you're looking for. Now we are going to stir this to chill. So just make sure you have some ice on hand. And like I was saying earlier, if you're ever working with anything carbonated, you don't want to shake it. Might seem pretty obvious why you wouldn't want to do that, but in case you're still confused about that, all the buildup of those extra air bubbles you'll be adding with the motion of shaking will cause your shaker to pop open and your drink will go everywhere. So stirring is definitely the best option for something like this. Now that we have the drink itself, we need to get it into our blood bag. And if you buy the kind that I bought, they come with this nice little syringe. The only downside to this is it does take a while to put it in the pouch itself. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing around this because this will be a very boring 2 minutes while I work on this. So once you finally get it in there, you now have your bag of artificial blood. And let's go ahead and give it a taste test real quick. It's a very straightforward drink. There's not really any surprises or complexities here. But again, it's Morbius. I wasn't going to break out the cool stuff for this. I think the presentation itself is a lot of fun. It definitely kind of tastes like one of those blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers, I think is the best way to put it. So it does have a touch of sweetness to it, but I think if you kind of measure out your lime juice, it won't be overly sweet. But the cherry vodka really pairs well with this raspberry bubbly. They complement each other very, very well, as cherry and raspberry should. And yeah, this is just a very straightforward drink that I think will please a lot of people who maybe aren't into very strong cocktails, just because of that sparkling water makes it very light, and that fruity nature to it makes it very easy to drink. Now that we have our drink, let's dive... Okay, now I think I'm ready to talk about this movie. Morbius is Sony's latest attempt at building out a Spider-Man cinematic universe, with no Spider-Man. There's a bunch of legal BS going on between Sony and Marvel Studios that seems to be halting Sony from using the character of Spider-Man in their films. But the Rogues Gallery is free range. They've already kickstarted this concept with Venom, but the reception hasn't exactly been stellar. Now they are further looking to place their stake in the superhero movie genre with Morbius, the living vampire, a Spider-Man villain and occasional anti-hero. Is this the powder keg Sony has been looking for to blast them to the same heights as Disney? No, this film is embarrassing. It's generic, boring, cliche, and incredibly uninspired. The thing has gone through reshoots and delays since early 2020, so it's hard to say exactly who fumbled this one, Sony. Everything in here feels like it was ripped straight out of the early 2000s, from the music to the writing to the effects. There's so much to talk about, but I don't even know where to begin. How about with the leading man, Jared Leto? A man known for his firm commitment to a role, preparing for each character by acting like a straight asshole to his cast and crew. This man is just sleepwalking through this one. The character of Michael Morbius is already pretty blandly written, but Leto's performance just drags the entire thing down. He's not likable, he's not charming, he's not witty or badass, he barely reacts to what's happening around him, only springing to life when there's a CGI vampire face grafted onto his. The rest of the cast at least tries to do something, but again, the writing really is not doing them any favors. Matt Smith has some of the most intriguing character aspects as the villain Milo, but not even his silly little getting dressed dance brings the energy or excitement this film desperately needed. The film's story plays out incredibly predictably and is surprisingly toothless for a film about a vampire. Sony was definitely afraid to give the character any real edge or complexity. While in the comics, Morbius is usually a tragically written character trying to do good but is hindered by his lust for blood. Morbius is not even really an anti-hero here. His struggles with his newfound vampirism is never as heavy as the film would like you to believe, as he never really makes any dire choices like choosing whose blood he has to consume. He's always a good guy, from beginning to end, with no real impactful stakes to be seen. And that's the problem with these villain-centric films. They don't actually let them tap into their dark side because they're afraid audiences won't root for them or kids won't buy their toys. It's one of the safest films I've seen in a long time, taking absolutely no risks because they realize they already have your money. The special effects are probably the most competent aspect of the film, even if they feel a little bit dated. I dig the vampire face effects for the most part, but it does kind of feel like a cop-out by not making it a permanent look for the character. I get movies want to squeeze the likeness of their lead actor out as much as they can, but it doesn't feel as tragic when it just goes away when he's not hungry. His movements in his vampire form remind me a lot of Nightcrawler from the X-Men films, which is cool, but I do think the heavy use of slow-mo kind of dampers it. Also, no blood in a vampire movie? I get Sony wants the PG-13 audience, but how are we really supposed to take this movie seriously when it can't even tap into the horror elements that most likely made this character popular to begin with? And the end credit scenes. My god. If for some reason you weren't clued into what Sony was trying to do, this lays it out crystal clear for you. They aren't focused on originality, risks, coherency, or even entertainment. They are here to make money by pumping out as many of these cash grabs as they can, using every minor character under the sun to squeeze out every last drop of their intellectual properties. They know you know these characters, and they are hoping and praying that's enough of a reason for you to give them your money. I guess I can't talk because I actually paid to see this movie. But if you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: do not watch Morbius. For my rating, I'm giving this film 1.5 origami bats out of 5. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Martini Shot. If you've seen Morbius, I'm so sorry. But let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Am I insane? Is this actually the best movie of the year? I'd love to hear your scorching hot Morbius takes. As always, if you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're interested in seeing more, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog, to find even more movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember to drink responsibly. Thank you.